This is the Sony FX3, which was originally announced back at the beginning of 2021 by Sony. So it's been out for nearly 2 years now. And when it was originally announced, it was a very weird camera. It just didn't make sense. Well, I've had this camera for pretty much most of that time since it came out. I'm gonna go through the reasons why I did decide to pick up this camera over the A7S III and whether you should pick up this camera today. Let's get into it. Focus. Is this all about cameras, right? Ooh, that's tasty. Hello, you beautiful humans. It is Gemlang here and welcome to another video. So today we are talking about the Sony FX3, and yeah, when it originally came out back in 2021, it just didn't make sense because the camera at the time to get was the Sony A7S III for video. Originally, when that camera was announced back in 2020, it set the standard for video for hybrid shooters. It was a fantastic camera. It was a long-awaited upgrade from the A7S II, which at the time was setting standards for the form factor with hybrid cameras. So when Sony announced the FX3, it just didn't make sense because it was being labeled as a cinema camera, but it had all the internals of the A7S III, which at the time was the camera to get. Now, with it being a cinema camera, it was missing some of those features that you would expect in a cinema line, such as internal NDs and waveform, which was a big sticking point for a lot of filmmakers. I remember people complaining about it in the Facebook groups. Well, look, I've been using this camera now for close to 2 years since it came out, and I've got to say the form factor on it is definitely a game changer. It definitely makes sense. Being able to use it handheld while still having the versatility of being able to rig it out as big as you want, putting it into a shoulder rig, or even just putting it on a gimbal, or with its form factor with the mounting holes all over it. I've used it in situations where I've put it onto C-stands and other situations that you just wouldn't be able to put, say, an FX6 or even an A7S III without it being rigged with a cage. The image quality that comes out of the FX3 is just incredible. Every time I go to edit the footage and look at it, I'm just blown away. Having 4K 60 and 120 options, well, look, I'm gonna be honest, I'm using 50 and 100 because I'm in Australia and we're on power. So having those options in the camera without any crop or degradation in quality, it is just amazing. I've used it so many times with different client shoots and also for my own personal work. I absolutely love it. With Sony bringing out lower barrier entry points into the cinema line, it just shows how good technology has been getting over the last few years. The image quality that is coming out of these cameras while getting cheaper and different form factors. It is actually really amazing. You know, back in the day, if we wanted access to this type of equipment, you would be looking at tens of thousands or more to be able to get this level of quality to be able to work with. And now you can just go down to your camera shop and pick up this equipment. How good is that? There's been so many times that I've been asked why did I pick up the FX3 over the A7S III, and my answer has always been the same. It is the form factor. I just love it. It is a game changer with so many different situations that you can use it in. Not having a viewfinder was a little bit of an adjustment at first, but it's never been a problem for me. You can add an external monitor for when you need it, or the autofocus on it. It is amazing. So it hasn't been a problem. And then with Firmware 2.0 coming out in July 2021, it just shows the vision and dedication from Sony for the camera. The biggest update was them adding Cine EI, as well as being able to load your own LUTs on the camera, and also making some changes to the menu system, making it a little bit more cinema-like. And those people who had the A7S III are now wishing that they had those options in their camera, and it doesn't look like Sony are going to make those changes to it. Bummer. When Cine EI was added to the FX3, it was a bit confusing for a lot of people because they hadn't had the exposure, yeah, pun intended, with using the other cinema line cameras from Sony, which have Cine EI. Look, once you get your head around it, it is pretty easy to understand, but it can be a little bit confusing. If you are still finding Cine EI confusing, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will provide a video on explaining Cine EI at another time. So back to reasons why I got the FX3, and the other reason is the top handle. It is very well designed, it's very well balanced, and having the XLR inputs on the top, as well as having the 3.5mm jack, gives you 4 channels, which sound very good. It means you don't need to use an external recorder, such as a zoom, but also it has a really low floor, so it has really good audio quality. The only gripe that I've got is that I've got big meaty hands, so I had to pick up the little small rig extension handle. I really like it, and I think this is the way it should have come. But that's okay, it's just a little gripe. $50 for the little extra extension handle on it, and you're fine. Oh, hang on, drink break, and change SD card and battery. That was good timing, wasn't it? Okay, so story time. I was actually on a shoot with a client of mine. I wasn't the main camera operator. I was actually there just as support because they were a very good client of mine. And the main camera operator was using a Blackmagic. I cannot remember for the life of me what it was, but it would have been at least 3 times the size of the FX3. And I was having a bit of a chat. We were comparing our camera gears and camera bag and everything. And he was just frothing over the FX3 and telling me how he wanted to upgrade to it. Well, later in the night, I was having dinner with the client and the camera operator wasn't there, and the client was saying to me, hey, I really love your work, you know, to me, but the other guy had a bigger and better camera, and that was purely based on the size of it. Hey, if you know, you know. It's not about the size, it's about the way you use it. Yeah, you know what I mean. So back to reasons why I picked up the FX3. Well, one of the major reasons is because it is in the cinema line, so it is labeled as a cinema camera. Now, you and I both know it is the same internals of the A7S III, and the image quality is identical. But to some people, having a cinema camera gives that illusion of that it is better quality. So it does make a difference to working with potential clients and potential people by being able to say you have a cinema camera in your kit. Now, obviously, since the FX3 came out, Sony did bring out the FX30, which is the identical same form factor as the FX3, but it has the APS-C image sensor and it has the option of getting it without the top handle. Now, if I had the option today of getting the FX3 or the FX30, I would still get the FX3 because for me personally, I want that full frame image sensor. But if you are just starting out as a filmmaker, the FX30 is a fantastic option to get. It is so versatile with having that form factor, and the image quality is still really good. So I'm still loving using the FX3. Every day I get to use it, it just brings me so much joy. I absolutely love the camera. In future releases, whatever it is, if it's an FX4 or an FX3 version 2 or whatever they're going to call it, I do hope that it does have internal NDs and hopefully the upgraded AI autofocus, which is in the A7R5. That is a game changer. So do you have the Sony FX3? Are there any changes that you would make about it for future releases, or are you still loving it as much as you did the day it came out? Or are you thinking about grabbing one yourself? Let me know in the comment section below. If you have enjoyed this video or found it informative, please hit the subscribe button as it does make a world of difference in my life. Thank you for watching. My name is Jem Lang and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.